Lhasa, literally meaning Holy Land, is the heart and soul of Tibet. It has history of more than 1,300 years. Lhasa has remained Tibet's capital since 1642, and most of the city's historical sites date from the second stage of the city's development since the 5th Dalai Lama.
Tibet Autonomous Region attracts people from all over the world. Lhasa is a center, also a start point for everybody. Personally, I choose the Potala Palace to prepare myself for my journey mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Erected in the 7th century, the Potala Palace was damaged by lightning and afterwards almost entirely destroyed in the time of Landama, who was a bitter opponent of Tibetan Buddhism. But in the 17th century, under the 5th Dalai Lama, the palace was restored to its original form. Pilgrims performed their duty in various ways. For example, they repeatedly bow their upper bodies until their heads touch the ground, or their bodies lie flat on the ground, prostrated. Another well-known ritual is to spin prayer wheels, which range from handheld units that are common souvenirs to huge ones that stand several meters high. Another practice is to contribute yak butter, which is used to light the oil lamps in temples and monasteries. Another donation pilgrims make is money. They simply put the coins or small notes everywhere, especially near the Buddha statues, and the money is not frequently collected.
Here used to be an official path for lamas getting to the Potala Palace, now open to the tours, but visitors have to make a reservation for purchasing tickets 1 day in advance. Like this one I got. That's the way.
With its majestic splendor, the Potala Palace would impress the inhabitants of any world capital. Thus, the humble Tibetan pilgrim, who has always lived in a yak hair tent, must view the Potala Palace with a great reverence. It is amazing to experience that this 13-story structure containing 999 rooms, which was built on a steep mountain in Lhasa. Unlike the majority of the famous architectural wonders of China, the Potala Palace is built on a vertical flat. The palace dominates the city. In fact, it dominates entire Tibet and captures one's attention immediately. Its walls are slanted like the sides of a condensed gray wall, seeming to reproduce the outline of mountain slopes.
After a lengthy walkway and numerous stairs, finally got to Potala Palace. Potala Palace measured from ground is 170 meters high, 350 from north to south, and 270 meters from east to west. Now it's a start to discover what's inside.
There is indisputable evidence to prove that the ethnic roots of different cultures had become interwoven long ago. In the oldest part of the Potala Palace, the prayer cave vault, you can see the statues of the Tibetan king Songtsen Gampo and his wife, the Tang Dynasty princess Wencheng. During the Tang Dynasty, the Chinese capital Chang'an, today is Xi'an, was one of the center of the world civilization. The Jokhang Temple boasts a history of more than 1,300 years. Legends have it that the construction of the temple took King Songzhan Temple and Princess Wencheng 3 years to complete. Because the original site of the temple had been a lake, the princess had to have white goats to carry soil from elsewhere to fill the lake up. At first, the Jokhang Temple was called Lhasa and later was called Jokhang to mean Buddha's chapel in the Tibetan language. Lhasa in Tibetan means soil and goats to indicate that the temple was built with the soil carried to the site by white goats.
Every day there are many pilgrims who come to Jokhang Temple prostrating, and the people from all over the place. And some people even stay whole day long. They bring their food, their tea, depends how much energy you have. Some of them even tie their leg together and make sure their body, their soul, and their heart all together praying to the Buddha. Long time ago, many monks come here to Jokhang Temple to pray. This container for yak butter contains many yak butter. All the monks also use the yak monk make salt butter tea. And over there you can see two gold. Also, Jokhang Temple is called the Golden Roof Temple.
The Jokhang Temple, first built in the shape of a two-story boat, it is the most magnificent building remaining from the Tupou dynasty in Tibet. After being refitted and enlarged by the subsequent dynasties, it now covers an area of more than 2,500 square meters. Inside the temple, there are several chapels. The Jokhang Temple is the main chapel that is in the shape of a courtyard. Behind hundreds of yak butter lamps, there is a main prayer hall which houses the statue of Avalokiteshvara, with 11 faces and 1,000 arms and 1,000 eyes on hand palms. The chapel housing the statue of Songzhan Temple, who is deemed as a religious king in Tibet, is found on the second floor of the temple. However, the third floor is a place for monks and lamas to retreat and is seldom open to visitors or pilgrims.
Thank you.